This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever. Rosarius is such an interesting fellow. So he says, I can't tell you how surprised I was when I woke up in the night to those rough-handed bastards dragging me out of my bed. I assumed they'd come to do me in. I'd stabbed one of them in the buttock by the time they told me I was being called back to the court. Why did he assume they were coming to do him in? Has he got a guilty conscience?
Then she says that once her mom was pregnant, for her mom was really difficult all the pregnancy. And now that we know everything that was going on with Belikon, I wonder if maybe because Belikon is not 100% fae, could be maybe that's why Mommy Fisher has problems with the pregnancy.
She's asking what the relic is. Mm-hmm. He got the pendant from his mum when he was 11, the night before they left for the Winter Palace. He then says, later, when he joined Belikon's army, he was called upon to travel between the realms because his relic was the most powerful. This can't have happened, though, because the gateways were sealed at that point. So I've looked at the timeline.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Quicksilver.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we'll carry on with our deep dive of Quicksilver with chapters 8 to 11. Just heads up, we might use strong language and explore adult themes.
This episode will contain spoilers from Quicksilver, the Kingfisher POV chapters on Callie Hart's website, and snippets of information we've had from Callie Hart herself.
And before we start, quick reminder, if you want early access to our episodes, bonus content every month, and no annoying ads like this one, you can have all this by becoming a supporter. You can try it for free now and cancel anytime. For the best deal, visit faithfullyfantasy.com or simply subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for instant access. Don't miss out and become part of our community.
Also, if you're enjoying the show, please take a second to rate us wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all of it. It helps more fantasy lovers find us, and it's one of the easiest ways to support what we do. A quick tap and you've made our day. So, a quick recap on how our Quicksilver episodes are running. First, we have the map tent, a short summary of the week's chapters fit to prep the Lupo Proelia. We will then dive deeper than you ever thought was possible into the fine print, scouring the pages for clues of what is to come. Then we will flick through the pages of Adina's sketchbook, channeling our oracle powers just like Fisher's mama, and recapping our favourite theory of the week, foreshadowing what could happen in Brimstone and beyond. Then we will set you up with the chapters you'll want to reread before our next episode, before we enter the part of the show where we listen to the ethereal whispers and answer a question from the Quicksilver.
So, without further ado, let's enter the map tent.
So this week, Saeris wakes to find the Everlayne sky is dark, unheard of in Zilvaran, where the two suns never set, and surprise, surprise, it's snowing. Everlayne escorts her to the Library of Dreams, where they meet Rosarius, a friendly librarian who casually declares two things. One, he stabbed a guard in the bum cheek. And two, Saeris is an alchemist. Enter Kingfisher, smirk-faced and already polishing his sword. He notes she must have Fae ancestry, otherwise Solace would have burned her hands right off. And then, without missing a beat, starts talking about handling his blade. Saeris is hell-bent on learning Quicksilver portal magic to get home and save her people. Lane gently reminds her she's been unconscious for a week, but Kingfisher thinks they might still be alive. She picks Kingfisher over Lane, and don't act like you wouldn't, and they head for the forge. She gets the lowdown on the Fae's fanged history. He calls her Osha, a butterfly with the lifespan of a one-night stand, and takes her to the abandoned forge. Between the Quicksilver hallucinations, his cursed pendant, and that intense way he watches her work with her hands, it's clear he sees her as leverage, not legend. They clean all day before he finally pulls out his magic and restores the forge in seconds. Back in the library, Saeris learns there are 3 kinds of alchemist, hers being the metal transmuting kind. Maybe later she will get her hands on Kingfisher's sword. Saeris presses him about raising a city. He admits it, but clams up on the details, then shoves some quicksilver in her palm until she hears a chant in her head. Anarath, more. She reshapes the metal, punches him, and somehow that's still just aggressive foreplay. There's family drama, an absent daddy declared a traitor, Mummy's second marriage was political coercion, and Belikon has hated Kingfisher from day one. Saeris learns portals are steered just by thinking of where you want to go, which is why she's now plotting a trip to Belikon's personal Quicksilver pool. Is it a bad idea? Absolutely, which is why, of course, it's happening.
Well, so much to say in these chapters, and of course we are here for all the theories and all the foreshadowing as well.
I think we've got quite a lot this week.
Yes, definitely. And now we have to pay attention to the fine print, the part of the show where we scour the pages for clues of what is to come. And we start with Chapter 8, Alchemist.
So the chapter title is obviously because we're learning about the magic system now. This is the first kind of mention, I think, of alchemist. We get some details, but there's not a lot of history. There's not a lot written down.
Yes, I was a little bit confused about this because for me, an alchemist was just the people from long time ago. They were like working with science, so they started with these kind of names. Wasn't it similar?
It's like a grey area between science and magic, isn't it? 'Cause they're trying to turn other metals into gold.
Yes.
They were trying to create the Philosopher's Stone. So I think we can see that because we learn about the 3. So the one which is healing, which I'm not sure about the history of alchemy, but I'd imagine there is some history there around like trying to find things to heal people. So I think it fits quite well with the like turning metal to gold, the search for immortality, and the healing powers.
Yes.
But historically, you'd be an alchemist and you would possibly be in pursuit of all 3. But this book kind of definitely splits the 3 branches.
Yeah.
Okay, so this chapter starts, and it reminds me of when we first met. So we were obviously living in different countries. And while they're not as different as Everlayne and Silvarin, Spain and the UK, a lot of our conversations were about like, oh, that's different, and this is different, and in this language we say this and we say that. And Saeris and Everlayne are having a conversation, and Everlayne's like, the suns are always in the sky then, like weird.
Yeah.
And then I kind of thought, this does feel a bit like that for Brits in Spain, because it does feel like the sun's always in the sky and it's boiling hot compared to Britain. Yeah. But I just really like this conversation because it's that they're learning the differences between the worlds.
I just found a little bit strange when she was explaining that, yes, the suns are always in the sky, so it's always daytime. But then it won't be different for like that kind of humankind, because our ancestors, they sleep because it was nighttime. But if there's never nighttime, you won't be like, I don't know, like an evolution. I think it will change in a different way.
I think you'd possibly sleep for shorter amounts of time and then get up and you'd have like a second nighttime and a third nighttime.
And the way that she's explained is basically like what humans we will do if we were in that situation. We put just like curtains to make our place dark and then try to sleep. Yeah. Which is a little bit curious. But
yeah. It's interesting. But I think, so compared to Silvarin, Everlayne feels a lot more like our world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I was wondering again if it's like another story where we can speculate that this is our history, because it's thousands of years ago, or hundreds of years ago, whatever. But it could actually be our timeline just in the history.
Yes. Well, we don't have 2 suns. So that's
exactly.
Yeah.
So she talks about going to the library, and the big thing she notices is it's massive. So she first goes in and she sees the 20-foot high stained glass windows that would have made Elroy weep. So obviously he's an emotional guy. He gets emotional about glass. So my theory is that maybe he originally made them.
Interesting. So far, we don't know anyone else that can do glass work. So
I mean, it's not the most interesting career in a land of sand, but I think I don't know that she drew special attention to them, and she mentioned it.
yeah,
All
then
right.
maybe there's actually a link there.
Yeah, I wonder if there is.
Yes. I definitely think that one day we'll see that Elroy will go to Avelia as well. So maybe we will see some explanations about stuff.
I think we'll see his pointy ears at some point as well. So we get a bit of chat about the library, and before she died, Mummy Saeris, Mummy Fane, Mummy Fane worked in the library of Silvarin.
Yeah.
It sounds like a horrible place. It's like underground, although it's 15 degrees cooler than the overworld. I don't know. I'm playing too much Minecraft. And it smells of mold and damp, and all the books are all like wet, and that's not ideal.
Yeah.
But I get a bit confused about this because I wonder, she was also a prostitute. She said before she died, she worked in the library. My question is, was this before or after or during at the same time as the prostitution? I mean, there are what feels like there could be some inconsistencies between Saeris's mum, because do you remember when she's like running through Silvarin when she's going after Hayden because he has the gauntlet? She's saying the people liked me because they liked her mother.
Yeah.
But then they spat on her dead body in the street. So did they like her or did they not like her? But anyway, I think there's an explanation for this one. I think that she could have worked in the library before, like a while ago.
Yeah.
And she found out something which is what turned her to rebellion. So she found out some secret information. Maybe the murder was because she knew too much, and they disguised it as an angry customer. And it was the fact that she was a prostitute. Perhaps it wasn't anything to do with that. Perhaps she was just even pretending to be a prostitute, and these people were visiting her for like other stuff. But anyway, I think possibly she found out some information while she was working in the library. She lost her job.
Yeah.
And could have ended up struggling or got killed for that.
I will assume that maybe the people who are more interested about books or about the knowledge of the player maybe will be the Fae. The Fae that got stuck there. Maybe they are talking to her, telling about other stuff, other realms, other cultures. And then maybe eventually she found out the truth.
Yeah.
And maybe they know Saeris as well, that she has something Fae line. And then is when she decided to give a change.
Yeah, and to fight for
yes.
the other side.
But definitely, sometimes you feel that she had like two mothers. That at their time was a librarian, and maybe later on in the same daytime, because there's never night.
Oh, yeah. You can't be a lady of the night, can you?
No.
You can just be a lady of...
Late date.
A lady. Yeah. So she meets Rosarius. Rosarius is such an interesting fellow. So he says to Lane, I can't tell you how surprised I was when I woke up in the night to those rough-handed bastards dragging me out of my bed. I assumed they'd come to do me in. I'd stabbed one of them in the buttock by the time they told me I was being called back to the court. Why did he assume they were coming to do him in? Has he got a guilty conscience?
Yeah, it's strange because it doesn't feel that like the normal behavior on a librarian. That's more like a warrior or somebody that's been doing like dodgy stuff. Plus, he was able to stab a guardian.
Yeah.
Bomb.
Well, it wasn't a guardian. It was a different.
Well, somebody was coming, so that's not something.
The King's Guard, yeah.
Yes.
Also, later in one of the other chapters, Saeris is like, how do you even kill a warrior? A Fae warrior? I bet Rosarius will know. And like, I suspect that there's more to him than his books. I think he obviously like knows something, because he said if I wanted him dead, he would have been dead. I was just trying to teach him a lesson.
Yeah,
he will think
teach
twice.
him good manners. Basically, what he was doing there. But
exactly. And why did he leave in the first place? Why was he kicked out? I suspect that other royal archivist who gets mentioned a few times.
Yes, I don't know if maybe he was really into maybe trying to help Kingfisher, try to find out what happened with the Quicksilver, the pool, and if there's another way to, wake it up. Maybe he was getting closer, and then they
To try
were
and
just
get his
like,
dad back.
yeah. And maybe they decide, now this guy, if he get the right information, he's going to be dangerous. So we just need to kick it out from here.
There's a little bit of, there's some really good conversation to have today about whether Belikon wants the portals open or whether he doesn't. And I think it comes down to that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But something's happened. Rosarius has upset someone. He lost his job. He was brought back. He's got a guilty conscience because he thought someone was coming to kill him. And yeah, what did he do? That's the question.
Plus, the way that he speaks to Kingfisher, there's definitely no fear in that guy. And
No.
Kingfisher is always so proud that everyone knows him, that now he has a soul, nobody's going to come for him. And this guy just treated him like a regular
Yeah, and
friend.
he gets told off, doesn't he, for
Yeah.
eating in the library, and he just Kingfisher just looks
like,
down.
I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
And leaves. Yeah. So this is the first time that we hear about the alchemists. And we're going to learn about the magic she's been wielding for years with little understanding of it. So Rosarius says, but the Quicksilver awoke. That's not, like he was going to say, that's not possible. And then he has this epiphany. His head whips back to Saeris and he says, oh, so this one's an alchemist then. And Saeris says, we don't know. But they obviously know, it's obvious. The Quicksilver awoke.
Yeah.
So she was holding Solus. And Rusarius seems to think that, well, she must be. If she was holding it and it didn't burn her hands off, then she must be an alchemist. So Lane says here, Kingfisher felt Solus calling. And he answered. So he found it in Saeris's hands. So it wasn't actually Solus calling, though, was it?
No.
It was actually Saeris and the god's bond, not the sword.
Yes. Something that I found interesting with all of this was that when Rosarius was talking, he came with his own conclusions, what happened, why Saeris is dead. For him was really clear that, okay, the Quicksilver is open and it's because Saeris is an alchemist. But Lane was constantly like, no, we don't know. So she's like always trying like to keep like secrets, even with Kingfisher. She's always trying to say that no, it's like nobody know that he's her brother, but actually everyone's know that because it's maybe common knowledge that Kingfisher was the son of his previous, well, the queen, I guess, and they know all the stories. But however, why is like whispering that it's my brother or
Yeah.
it's strange.
So I think Rosarius knows a lot more about alchemy than he's letting on. He knows all the answers to everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
She asks him a question, he knows the answer. I feel like there's more that he knows that he's not giving up.
Yes, maybe she's not asking the right questions.
Yeah.
But definitely he knows a lot of stories and a lot of stuff about Quicksilver and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kingfisher is, again, like kind of looming in the shadows. And he says she must have a drop of Fey blood because Everlayne is saying, all the alchemists are Fey, they're not human, and this one's human. So Kingfisher comes in with, she must have a drop of Fey blood. Enough to stop Solus burning off her hands, but not enough to matter. He's just being dramatic, and he's like trying to make her feel bad at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's pushing her away. But for this bit, I wanted to reread the conversation with Zareth, but I forgot.
So you mean the part at the end of this book when she
Yeah.
got directly just talk to him? Yeah.
I want to remember what he did. So Zareth meddled with the bloodline and history, and he, several generations back, I think he put her bloodline into Silvarin so they would never meet. It says several generations back. Do you think that her bloodline then just started in Avelia and they travelled through the Quicksilver and then they got trapped at the same point as everybody else got trapped because the gates closed? Or do you think it was completely unrelated? Because I honestly think, like, my theory is that she is from the Lissian Fae, because she says her name is Lisa, sorry.
Yeah.
And Everlayne calls her Liss. And we know there's the Lissian Fae, who are seafaring Fae. They have a Quicksilver pool in a cave somewhere and they worship it.
Mm-hmm.
I think her family was royalty. They went through the portal at the same time as Kingfisher's dad and got trapped there.
Yeah.
And then their bloodline gets weakened and weakened and weakened over those
generations.
1,723 years since the gates closed. I don't know why. It feels a bit specific and I'm being very detailed, but I just think I've got a feeling that she's a descendant of the Lissian Fae.
Not sure if it's going to be from that, but definitely she has to be from royalty. There's a couple of hints that we spoke about this in the last episode. And definitely she is part of the royal Fae family. And
definitely. Very confident.
Yes. I mean, the father Lane says the dark hair is something.
The blue eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. The reason I keep coming back to Lissia is because she says that's what her name is. She says it's so similar, isn't it? Lissia.
Yeah.
There's literally an island on the map that's called Lissia.
Yeah, maybe in Brimstone we'll go there and then we start to find out something about her family.
They're seafaring Fae, aren't they? I wonder if they're going to try and unite all the places in Avelia to fight against Belikon.
Yeah.
So she notices Kingfisher's armour again and all his protection.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a polished silver renegade's gorget gleaming at his throat. So this is like a silver plate that goes around his neck.
Yes.
So we know now that his mother gave this to him. And it's to protect him against a vampire bite.
Mm-hmm.
Had we really thought about why he's wearing this, it would have been obvious. This is one of those things where you're just like, it's silver, the vampires. Like,
yeah.
I was shaken when I read that there was vampires. I was not expecting this book to be a vampire book. Did you know it was? Had I told you?
Was expecting when you told me they're fake, but they have big fangs like vampires.
Oh, did I?
And obviously when Kingfisher started to explain in the past they used to feed with humans, so I was maybe thinking at some point we will see like proper vampires.
Yeah. I had no idea this was going to be a vampire book. But when you look back at it, it's obvious he's protecting himself against a vampire.
Yeah.
His hair was wet. The ends of his ink-black waves dripping beads of water onto the pages of the open book. This is where he gets told off. He also gets told off for eating, but...
Yeah. Because all the water was dripping in the books. They were first tomes.
Right. My question. I understand why Ren, when he arrives in a few minutes, his hair is also dripping wet because he's like, shit, I've lost Kingfisher. Where is he? And he's like barely had time to dry himself. He grabs his armor and just legs it to the library. But why? This is a sub-zero world. Why are people walking? They're going to catch their death of cold. Their hair's going to freeze.
That's us, pure humans, but fays are stronger than us.
Fae hair doesn't freeze. Okay.
However, they use magic for everything. They can't just, I don't know, snap the fingers and then they had a wavy hair, silky or something.
Yeah.
They had to...
No, it's not righteous.
They're not owls. Yeah.
So Rosarius gets really pissed because he's dripping water all over a first edition. I would be really angry if he dripped water over any of a first edition of my book as well.
Harry Potter first edition.
Yeah, can you imagine? And he looks down at the ground. He's like, my apologies, Rosarius. I'll be more careful this time. So this is the real Kingfisher here. And I think Rusarius must have been some kind of sanctuary for him when he was a kid, a safe space. And Kingfisher can't be rude to Rusarius. So there are hints here that he isn't just a walking red flag. But I totally missed them on the first read again. I just ate this book up so quickly I wasn't even thinking about what I was reading, what was coming next. Just living it. So, yeah, this is the real Kingfisher here. He doesn't upset people. He doesn't, he's kind. He looks after people. He doesn't drip water on people's books without apologizing.
I honestly didn't know what to think in this one because I noticed that he was, apologizing to him, but I wasn't sure if he was being sarcastic or something. And then when I carry on reading, there was no mention about he was joking or whatever. I was like, oh, so he was being like honest when he says sorry. Like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. And Everlayne's like, where's Ren? Where's Ren? And he says, I assume he's still scrubbing his balls. And then they have this like family fight conversation where it's like, if you're trying to shock me by mentioning random parts of the male anatomy, then you're out of luck. I've seen Ren. I can't say this. I've seen Ren's balls. I've seen yours too. I've seen everything. And then she's like, so I know exactly where to aim my knee. So we've still not had an answer from Callie Hart. I did ask her last week why Everlayne had seen Ren's balls. But she didn't ask me anything on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I've not seen any answers to any questions. So hopefully she's just not choosing to answer our particular question.
Yes.
And I was like, this is a weird question, but I've just reread this part. Why has Everlayne seen Ren's balls? But she does have the same tactic as, I think it's Brandon Sanderson, who when he's asked a question, he has cards printed that's like JFRI.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking read it. So she's like, you got to wait and see. Because somebody asked her about, the sterilization and the fact that Saeris can't have babies. She's like, I'm just not going to say anything. Just going to have to wait and see. Just fucking read it. So she might say the same thing because I'm pretty sure we're going to get some history. I just feel it. Everlayne and Ren, if they haven't got a future, they've got history. And I wonder if it'll rekindle it. You can see sometimes he's like pausing on her. He's saying nice things. He's speaking to her like they've got some history, but not terrible history. They're not fighting.
Yes. So when she says that she has seen Ren's balls and has seen everything from Kingfisher as well, I wasn't surprised when she said that about Kingfisher because I have a little sister as well. And when you're living together for such a long time, accidents happen. So I can say that yes, that things happens as well.
Yeah, but not your best friends.
Yeah, that would be weird. Yes, but between Kingfisher and Everlayne, for me,
awkward.
I know shit like that.
Awkward. But why Ren? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to know. Hopefully, Callie Hart. Can everybody just ask the same question? And hopefully she'll be like, oh my God, just to shut you up, I'm going to answer this question.
Maybe it's something really important. If I should say it now, it will be...
specifically the moment where she saw his balls or just their relationship in general?
Maybe their relationship in general.
Maybe. I think there's something they definitely...
I think we had to wait and eventually we'll find out why.
Yeah.
But also Everlayne was really pissed with Kingfisher because he arrives to the library by himself. He didn't want to wait for Ren. And she is telling her, you don't realize all the danger that you are here in this place. And he says, well, if you see my armor, obviously that says the opposite, that I'm really aware. And like you said before, he was protecting as well, like against vampires. We know there's vampires in the stories, but is he actually expecting to see any vampires in this place, in the castle, that will come here to attack? Because he says as well to Saeris, like kind of like whispering, he said that Belikon's assassins could be anywhere, but is he referring as well at vampires at the Winter Palace? Yeah,
because he knows all along that they're working together. Just like he knows that Madra has something to do with it. He wants to go and kill her as well. I also suspect that the guy that was all frail and pale that was on the dais next to Belikon and Malway.
Yeah.
I suspect he's a vampire.
It's really pale.
Yeah. He didn't have black veins, but I do I don't think Taladeus has black veins, does he?
I can't remember if there's a description about him, like, with the veins.
I have a feeling he's quite attractive, and I just don't
Yes,
think he'd be attractive if you had black veins. Would you? Like, pale skin, black veins? Ugh.
No. Definitely, I remember, I think it was Sarah, the one who said that he's kind of attractive.
Yeah, I feel like it's the feeders that have black veins, not the vampire. I don't know, we'll have to get to it.
Does Malcolm has black veins, do you remember?
I don't know, but he's really old.
Well, I know he's kind of like a Lucian Malfoy description, so like long hair. It's not blonde, but it's like
Maybe
white.
it's to do with how you act. Like if you relish in torturing and killing people, you get black veins.
Yeah. Maybe the black veins is just like a proof or hint that they are dead, and maybe are the feeders the only one who has this one, because they are like animals. They are just dead. Yeah.
Zombies. Zombie vampires.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, this whole sequence is really funny. So they're talking about Kingfisher's hardware. And he's like, it's rude to stare at a male's hardware. She's just staring at his swords. And then she's like, doesn't even look that big to me. The whole thing is great. And Rosarius has no idea what's going on. So Saeris is remembering the Hall of Mirrors on when she nearly died. And she says, what had he called me back in the Hall of Mirrors? Pathetic, a fucking joke. But he wasn't calling her that. He was calling himself that for not being able to go after Madra and save his Osha. So, anyway, back to the sword innuendos. He says, this sword has slain thousands. And she says, I wouldn't have thought that's something to brag about. You should get it looked at. I think this bit's really, really funny. And then Rosarius is like, I don't understand. Nimarel is a formidable sword. And he's the only one actually talking about Kingfisher's sword.
Yeah. Yes.
It's an honor to even look upon the sword, is what he says. I mean, we'd all be honored, wouldn't we? But...
Yeah. There's a really good part in this book, like jokes, even like the proper joke that's been told to the Quicksilver. Yeah. I found that really funny as well.
Funny.
Yes.
Anyway, what is clear is Saeris does not care about Avilian history. She doesn't give a shit about court etiquette. All she wants to do is get the hell out of there. She wants to learn how to open the Quicksilver portal. Yeah. She wants to get back to her brother. We have the first hint here that Lane and Fisher are siblings. It's maybe not the first hint. Well, it's a hint. And the conversation is actually really awkward when you have read this book already and you come back to it. Because Saeris is basically calling Everlayne out here. She's like, do you have a brother? And wouldn't you want to know that he's safe? And I think Everlayne did give up on Fisher. And she said she thought about it for the first 3 decades. But then she just tried to forget it because she realised he was gone and nothing was going to happen. And Saeris is calling her out over this now. She's like, basically, you're a terrible sister. You didn't care about your brother. Because if she doesn't understand why Saeris wants to go back and she'll do anything for her brother, then she doesn't love Kingfisher enough to want to save him. Yeah. So I think this whole conversation is really awkward for Everlayne, and Fisher knows it because he's like piping in and he's egging her on.
Yeah. He's paying attention, of course.
Yeah. I also want to talk about the fact that Madra used Solus to seal the pathways a long time ago, and this is what they say. The portals are now open because Solus is there, but they're closed unless an alchemist awakens Quicksilver. But when an alchemist awakens one Quicksilver pool, they awaken everywhere. Yeah. And we know that Saeris isn't the only alchemist. There's other alchemists. Probably not as strong as her, definitely not as powerful as her, but there are more than one alchemist. So my theory now is that alchemists are moving around already. We know that Madra has crossed over to Avelia by the end of the book. How did she do that? Did she wait until Saeris awakened the Quicksilver to make one of the god swords later on in the book and notice that it was open and just jump in? Did she find her own alchemist who can now awaken the Quicksilver at any point and move people around? All we know is that there is no god sword in the Quicksilver, so it can be awakened and stilled at any point that an alchemist wants it to. So unless someone else sticks a god sword in, the portals are
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is, we're assuming as well they are still traveling with the pendant that they have from 1,000 years ago. If that's still working, or
well, Fisher's does. Fisher's is 1,723 years old. His pendant.
So I guess there's no need to
make another one.
Yes.
The question is, and like, it seems to be a forgotten art or a forgotten magic. And I think Saeris actually says that. She says that it's kind of like the legend of the Fae in Silvarin, but actually it's magic that's just long forgotten. But you have got the alchemists who travelled through the Quicksilver and got stuck in other worlds, and they're still alive because they can live that long. They would still remember. So it's not completely forgotten. And you should really have some alchemists that were stuck in Avelia at that time. So they must have been killed or something. If it's really forgotten, it's not that long ago. Because Kingfisher was alive. Kingfisher was 10 when the...
Yeah, it's not even one generation. In Fae life expectancy.
Yeah, so you have people you have Fae who are older who should remember. And definitely plenty of alchemists, but they must have all been killed.
Yes. It's so strange because obviously if there are more alchemists, but they are in completely different realms, and then when the Quicksilver was closed, just because the sword or the gas was there, and not even an alchemist could wake up the Quicksilver from other realms. So I don't know if they had to wait for the sword to be retrieve, and then they start to traveling again.
Yeah, well, they can do, can't they?
Yeah.
Unless they've been assassinated or unless they've lost their relics. But anyway, my theory is that the alchemists are moving around now. And also a secondary one where Belikon does not want to actually reawaken the Quicksilver because him and Malcolm doesn't want the Dianthus heir coming back. And they assassinated all the alchemists.
Yes.
And that could be why they want Saeris so bad. They just want to kill her. So we find out this is the first mention of the Dianthus heir. So there's rumours floating around that the Dianthus heir is in Silvarin somewhere. So Fisher says this like Madra would know, because it was an answer to the question, why would Madra close the gate? Fisher is convinced that Madra closed the gate.
Yeah.
But actually, Belikon said that his dad closed the gate.
Maybe all of them are true.
Well, there's so many questions. How did she get the sword off of Finran in the first place? She shouldn't have been able to touch it. And what happened? Like, if she did it, how did she do it? Because it makes sense that Finran would do it, because he's the one that can hold the sword. Like, you literally have to stab it in. For those listening, I'm like reenacting it. You got to stab it in.
It's amazing, yeah.
How did she do that?
I think the Madra was responsible for all of that, but she's not the one who did it physically. It has to be Finran. Finran was the one, because maybe he was tricked by Madra, or somehow Madra found a way to make her do it. So he...
Like Harren.
Yeah. He did it for her, and then something happened, and they had to run away maybe, or he got stuck, and then he couldn't come back to the castle, or he might die after that. Madra killed him.
I do wonder if it was her role in this three-way partnership. So... get the Dianthus, because we also find out later that Belikon was the one that sent Finran away with the Dianthus, sent him on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was gone, the gate was shut. He married his wife. So it does feel like two things were good. They got rid of the Dianthus heir, which is a massive threat to Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that partnership would not want the Dianthus heir anywhere near Malcolm.
Yeah.
So that's one good thing about sending Finran to do it. Trap Finran on the other side. If this was Madra's job to close the gates, then he could paint him as a traitor to the realm. Belikon could paint Finran as a traitor to the realm and then marry his wife for good measure.
Mm-hmm.
So it does feel like a convenient situation. And I know that later there's some like, oh, she sealed the gates and we shouldn't forgive her. And but we have forgiven her.
Yeah.
Why did they forgive her so easily? I think that's because that was her role. That was her job.
Yeah.
Because it's just too convenient, isn't it? Get rid of the sworn enemy, the only thing that can defeat Malcolm, and get rid of your future wife's husband. Just seems too perfect. I think it was her job.
Yes. Unless maybe there's another story here going on and Finran did it because he maybe found out something going on when he went to Silveren. And maybe he is trying to prevent that something was coming to the Silver City or to the realm where Madra is. And he was preventing this, just closing the Quicksilver. Maybe something temporary and then something happened to him.
Yeah, and he couldn't reopen it.
Yes.
I think it was Madra, though. But I don't know how. I don't know how she physically put the sword in.
Mm-hmm.
And why does Kingfisher believe so strongly that it's Madra and not Finran? Because everything points to the fact that it was him, because he's the only one who can touch the sword. He's literally basically caught red-handed. It was not because nobody saw him do it, but you could be beyond reasonable doubt that it was him, couldn't you? Yeah. If you are the only person that can touch that sword. Yeah. And the sword somehow is in the Quicksilver. Anyway, I think there's more to learn about that story.
Yeah, the other thing that I was thinking as well, the Malcolm is the one who benefits more about this, because if the only heir of the Dianthus go to Silveren and he gets stuck there for some reason, and it's going to say for people like Madra, that's immortal, as well as Malcolm, if they had to wait for like 3,000, even 4,000 years for Karen to get old and die, because it's all, for them it's nothing, because they had all the time just to wait if they can't kill it. So I think maybe Madra was working on Malcolm's orders, the ones he's there in that realm. There's maybe so small, and Madra has so much power. It's easier, maybe he thought, to kill him.
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah. That it's her job in that partnership to do that, because it traps Carrion on the wrong side of the gate.
Yeah. The question will be, in what kind of mission or excuse Belikon was sending Finran with Carrion to go to
keep him safe. Because he's the last of that, and that's what Kingfisher genuinely believes his dad was taking him there to keep him safe.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, why was Finran working for Belikon?
Yeah.
Why did he agree to that?
Well, he was an alchemist as well, so has to be somebody that's an expert to
we
cause the
don't know
Quicksilver.
That he was definitely an alchemist, because Fisher isn't an alchemist, but he is able to cross through. He's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
So Finran was a lord. I wonder if his wife saw that the way to defeat them was to keep him safe until he grew up, and then so there could have been like a prophetic angle to it as well, because he was married to an oracle.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Yeah, there's so many questions, and I think I'd written these notes for a later chapter, so we might come back to it. But Kingfisher has 2 questions for Saeris. Has she ever manipulated metal, or has it ever done anything weird around her? And does she know her way around a forge? And she's like, in a forge? Yeah, you could say I know my way around a forge. And I think I've said this in one of the other episodes, but I am sure Elroy made absolutely certain that she knew her way around a forge because he knew that she was an alchemist and perhaps even knew that she'd be the one to save his son.
Yeah, maybe that's why I think that Finran is an alchemist, because he used to cut a forge as well, and somehow Saeris, she knows a lot about it thanks to Elroy. So if we still with the theory that Elroy is gonna be Finran, he might be an alchemist as well, but obviously it's just a speculation in the end.
Well, yeah, because also it does seem to get passed down. They confirm here that it's a genetic trait, like this magic gets passed down. And we know that Kingfisher gets some of his magic, the like illusion part from his mother, I think, and the shadow from his dad.
Yeah.
I can't remember now. It is confirmed which one he gets it from, though, in the Kingfisher POV chapter. I'm going to read that again.
Yeah.
So why would he not have that passed down from either his mum or his dad if one of them were an alchemist?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess for me, it just makes sense that if you're an alchemist, you would like to spend time with any kind of metals, and you will have
he does know his way around a forge, though, Kingfisher, doesn't he? So, yeah, you'd think that he was taught that for a reason. And maybe it was just because they knew he would need to in the future.
Yeah. We don't know if maybe you have parents with different gifts. Maybe you will get just one of each. You won't get in Kingfisher case, it will be shadows and
illusion.
An alchemist, yeah.
I mean, which is like dominant trait or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the question. That's the question that ends the chapter. Do you know your way around the forge?
Memoirs of Luzbel. She loved him. She lost him. And he came back. But wasn't completely him. She feared him. She fought him. But she fell for him. Memoirs of Luzbel. Now available on Amazon.
Yes, and we go into chapter 9, Righteous Purpose.
Yeah, so the chapter title is obviously on the face of it about the way that Fisher says magic should be used and that he's not going to waste his magic on something as unimportant as cleaning a forge. But it also could mean Fisher is training her not for his own gain, like Belikon maybe, if he even wants to, which is questionable, but actually for the sake of his people. So he is doing all of this for a righteous purpose, but he is an absolute arsehole at this point, so you don't notice that. I think some of these chapter titles are really clever. Some of them, maybe we're not thinking about them enough, but some of them are quite obvious, that, like alchemist. It's a bit obvious. There isn't a second meaning for that, unless Rosarius is also an alchemist or something. That could be, but you know what I mean? There's some hidden meaning. But this one is a clever one. I think there's the righteous purpose here is not just cleaning the workshop. It's actually what Kingfisher is doing, teaching Saeris.
Yeah.
So there's a really weird part. Ren says Belikon has been guarding the door of the forge since the dawn of time. Why?
Yeah, we're talking about way before Kingfisher was even dead.
The dawn of time. But if Belikon was really interested in trying to find the solution for opening up the gates of Quicksilver again, why would he be guarding the door of the forge? There's only two reasons. One, He doesn't want anyone to figure it out, which is what we've talked about, possibly because they want the Dianthus heir on the other side of the gate, or they want Kingfisher's dad out the way. And then the second reason would be the good reason, where it would be like he was protecting the person working in the forge.
Yeah.
Because he thought, well, some people might not want the portal to be open. So there's only two possible reasons, and both of those lead to somebody not wanting the portals to be open again.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out why Ren has a limp?
We're just assuming that it was from the kind of like trying to control Kingfisher when he was just out of control.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That
but
makes sense.
there's no other indication that he was like in a secret mission, or when he was attacked for the soldiers, when he was with Kingfisher, or when he went to find Kingfisher and then he was attacked, that he was unconscious.
Oh, yeah, it could have been then.
Mm.
Yeah. Either way, it doesn't feel that important, does it? So Saeris says, come hell or high water, I was going to get my brother. I was going to get back to my brother, but I couldn't rush it. This is when she's deciding, no, I'm in this now. I've got to do it properly. I really think that Hayden will play a big role in Brimstone. And Saeris's last words to him, which were like, you've always been a pain or whatever, I'm paraphrasing, will have had a massive impact. And I think he's going to come back with like the glow up of the century.
Yes, I'm thinking that at this point he might still thinking that Saeris is alive, but she is a prisoner, and he need to do something to save her, his big sister.
So they walk into the forge. Everlayne, Ren, Saeris. She can barely keep up, and Kingfisher. And they go past the gods that Everlayne and Saeris went past the other day on the way to meet Belikon. Everlayne bowed and touched her head to them as she goes past. Ren grumbled, giving them a cursory nod, saying Ren's like somewhere between the two. And Kingfisher stuck out a hand and flipped all 7 of them off as he stormed by. He just gave them the middle finger. This, again, is really funny, considering he knows they're real, because he's seen he doesn't give a shit. This is, again, some like genius writing from Callie Hart. But there is something here that isn't that genius. I'm going to say this.
Okay.
No shade. But when Kingfisher says that Saeris isn't going to go and move on without the Cliff Notes, so the Cliff Notes is like a modern-ish day. I think it's like really old, but it's like a modern day reference to like revision guides for exams. And it totally pulled me out of the story because I'm like, hang on, how would he even know what that is? Like, he would not know what that is. And I think authors have to be really careful with stuff like this because it feels to me like the equivalent of seeing a camera in a movie. You know, it's something that pulls you out of the story.
Yeah.
It's like you were watching a Viking movie and you saw an iPhone. Kind of the equivalent of that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, like the meaning of Jack Sparrow with it's like a bandana with a Nike brand.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's not that important, but anyway.
Yeah.
So this is where he gives her the Cliff's Notes and he shows her his teeth, and he talks all about the fact that there was an ancient blood curse and some Fae are still affected by it. So these are the vampires. But they don't need blood anymore to maintain immortality. Again, another link to vampire blood and immortality, which is why I think that is how Madra is doing it. But by the gods, do we still have the teeth for it? Our dirty little secret, our awful, horrible shame. And this links later to the conversation that she has with Loreth in the pub at the war camp, in that it's quite a like erotic thing and it's really embarrassing they don't talk about it. So that's why he's talking about our dirty little secret, our awful, horrible shame.
Yeah.
So we get full confirmation here that Everlayne and Kingfisher are siblings and that he's been missing for around a century. I believe this like at one point said 60 years or something, but then it was corrected. but we know that he's been missing for 110 years. I'm working on a timeline, actually, of years. I can probably sum it up at the end of the episode, the timeline as we know it so far.
Yeah, it would be really useful because obviously we're talking about dozens of years of stories that it happens and on the plot. So
yeah, and someone asked us the other day to do a deep dive of the timeline because there's apparently some issues with it. So we will find them as we go along. I think we found a little bit of an inconsistency today, but I'm still hopeful that I'm still hopeful we'll find an in-world explanation of it by the end of the series.
Yeah, I really expect there is not just editing error. That would be really bad if I say that. I'm expecting there's something that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
You know, like in the Imperial series, when we were talking about Leon, that he was throwing ice and everyone said there was an editing error.
We saw that straight away that would be within the world. This one is really hard to explain. Anyway, we'll get to it. Kingfisher gives Saeris the nickname Oshalith or Osha, which we learn is a type of butterfly that only lives for a day. He's doing this, though, in a way that is making her feel like he's calling her weak and pathetic and
irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because, it lives too short.
Yeah. But later we find that it's not that at all. Again, this whole part is really funny because they get to the forge. Ren and Everlayne Everlayne stormed off. Ren's gone after her. Saeris has chosen to stay with Kingfisher. And she's like, shall we knock on the forge door? Because the door seems to be locked. And he's like, she said, no, don't. It could be magic. And he wiggles his fingers like, oh no, magic. Not magic. And then he kicks the door down and he's like, knock, knock. It's really good. The whole part is so funny. And it's a dump.
Yeah, for me, to me, it was really funny because they had kind of like a little bit of interaction here that when he like laughing at her like, oh no, magic. And she like, ass.
Yeah.
She like, weak.
Yeah.
So the whole thing. So they go in and then they say the whole place is just completely destroyed. Even she said that it's just like somebody has like an rage or something destroy the place. So this could be that maybe someone did all of this on purpose, and there's a reason for that. The only thing that we don't know is who could it be and why. It could be maybe Elroy, that he was just making sure that all his work or all the stuff that was there, nobody can find any clues about what's going on.
Before he traveled to
Yes.
Southampton. Yeah.
Or maybe the previous alchemists, they maybe can no longer travel when their getaways were locked.
Yeah, I got really angry because he couldn't travel or she couldn't travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it could have been that Belikon just did not want anyone to be able to find out how to do it, so smashed up all the forges.
Yeah, it could be Belikon sending some guards or somebody to destroy everything because, I don't know, everything related to Finrun is just bad.
Yeah, or any alchemy. He doesn't want the gates opened, so smash it.
Yeah.
We get introduced to a character that gets mentioned a few times in the next few chapters, and this is Clements.
Yeah, Clements.
Clements?
Yeah.
The royal archivist charged by Belikon with figuring out how the alchemists used to activate the Quicksilver. My theory, because I just am leaning to the side that Belikon does not want the gates open because of his links to Malcolm. My theory is that he was actually charged with stopping people figuring out how to do it and like basically destroying the records, because isn't it weird how there's hardly any records in the library? It just gives scribes trying to destroy the history evidence vibes, and it's like a forgotten history but in only one generation. It doesn't feel right. So I think Clements was charged by Belikon to stop people finding out how to activate the Quicksilver. I think Belikon isn't actually pissed off that the portals are closed. At first I was like, I'm not sure how this fits with Saeris and how he is giving them he's giving Kingfisher a week to train her, and he describes her as his ward and that he's getting Everlayne and Rosarius and Kingfisher to help her learn how to activate the Quicksilver. But I actually just genuinely think he doesn't think they can find out because of what Clements has done. He's destroyed the forge. He's got rid of all the history. So he doesn't mind them being in the library because he knows they won't find any information there because Clements has destroyed it all.
Yeah.
So I think he's just got such confidence that she won't be able to figure it out. He doesn't think they're going to run away to Carlish. He thinks that she is trapped there, essentially. He doesn't want her to be available to anybody else. So he wants her close to him. He's not like kicking her out. For some reason, he's not killing her, that would be the bit where you'd think actually he'd probably just kill her. But yeah, I don't think Belikon wants them open, and I think this royal archivist could have been the one that smashed up the forge as well, because just to stop people learning.
Yes. I think maybe the only reason that Belikon is not killing directly Saeris is because he need to have a meeting with the other siblings and say, okay, now the Quicksilver has been, is working now, we can travel, we can meet again. What are we going to do with her? Or what is the plan? And maybe that's why he's just, when everything is happening, he's having his meetings with Malcolm. Yeah. Maybe they go to see Madra and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Madra, could be saying, I don't worry about the Dianthus line because I think I've killed all the Fae.
So, Saeris, she has, I guess, permission from Kingfisher to ask anything that she wants. And one of the first questions that she says is, okay, we are in the Winter Palace, so it's obvious to assume there's another palace as well, I don't know, the Summer Palace, the Autumn Palace, or the other ones. And apparently there's something because Kingfisher said that she will learn that in the library.
Yeah, so I can't see them on the map, but it doesn't mean they don't exist. Maybe they're not even in the Fey realm. Maybe Belikon built them in different realms.
Yeah.
When he has a summer house, he has a spring, because maybe he didn't want to spend all year in the Winter Palace. Maybe he spent time in other realms as well.
Yes.
They're not on the map, and the Winter Palace definitely is. It could be a similar thing to the Empyrean, where it only goes on the map when Saeris learns about it. And we know that she's learnt about the island of Lissia. We know because that comes up in the next chapter. We know that she's learnt about all these places in this book. She's not necessarily been to them all, but she's learnt them. Yeah. It would be quite similar to Akatar, though. That's pretty spoiler free, but there are different courts and they are named after the seasons, some of them. So
yes, at least the only thing that we can have for sure that Kingfisher doesn't say that no, this is just the only one. He said he will learn that later on. Yeah,
exactly. He doesn't say that they don't exist.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, human.
Yeah. He's not really satisfied with that question though, so he's like, ask me about a question. She does get an information download from Fisher in this part, so I'm going to try and quickly sum it up. The Quicksilver pools are pathways that connect different realms. It is sentient. Alchemists use to forge Quicksilver into weapons. If it enters the skin, then it will push you to insanity, which doesn't bode well for Kingfisher, does it? But it's okay because they figure out how to fix it. And spoiler. Alchemy is an inherited trait. We've spoken about this already. And he says everything is about blood. Another massive hint that there's vampires.
About blood.
Yeah. So he also talks about the relic. So she's asking what the relic is. He got the pendant from his mum when he was 11. The night before they left for the Winter Palace. He then says, later, when he joined Belikon's army, he was called upon to travel between the realms because his relic was the most powerful. This can't have happened, though, because the gateways were sealed at that point. So I've looked at the timeline. If we assume that today, the conversation in the forge is today. It's 2025. And it's happening in a different time, but a different universe. Yeah. But it's 2025. So we know that 110 years ago, Kingfisher entered the maze. So that was 1915. That's a long time ago, isn't it? But it was 1915.
Yeah.
going even further back, so these are the events that we know about already. Finran was sent to Silvarin when Kingfisher was 10.
Yes.
So he was born 1,733 years ago, which is the year 292. It's insane. When he was 10, his dad was sent to Silvarin. So that's the year 302. So that was the year that his dad was sent to Silvarin.
Yes.
So that is also the year that the Quicksilver was stilled. So there has been no travel, allegedly, since the year 302. Kingfisher's mum gave him the pendant when he was 11, so in the year 303.
Yeah, before going to the Winter Palace.
Yeah, to marry Belikon.
Yes.
But then he says, later, when I joined Belikon's army, he was used to go through the pools of Quicksilver. But Solus should have been in the Quicksilver at that point, and there shouldn't be any travel between pools. So I am really hoping that there is an in-story explanation of this. Perhaps there's a different way around it, but Kingfisher can't lie. So he's not making it up. He was used to go through the Quicksilver. That is why, and I hate to do this, but at the moment I can't think of a strong enough in-story reason why he would say that when the pools were closed in the year 302. If you assume that everything's happening today.
Yes, I remember when we were talking about this, I was trying to see if there's anything that maybe we missed or something that can explain all of this. But basically, Kingfisher goes to live with Belikon when he's a child, when he was just 11. Then there's been some contact with the Quicksilver before
Maybe
his
it was
father.
when he was 11. Maybe that's why she gave him the pendant. Because he needs it to stay sane. Because the gods, I'm pretty sure the gods called him through it, and he was fighting, wasn't he?
Yes. But he definitely said that when he joins Belikon's army, he has to go through the Quicksilver because his relic is one of the strongest.
He shouldn't have been able to.
Yes. Yes, because right when his father disappeared, he disappeared and he is treated as a traitor because he closed the Quicksilver. All the pools were closed at this point. And Kingfisher wasn't living with Belikon.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
which
a forgotten.
Brian is talking about.
Yeah, it's a forgotten magic as well. And if Kingfisher was still doing it, yeah. Well, let's wait and see. Hopefully, Brimstone.
Unless then maybe he is the one who is not insane when he was talking or something. He just lost track of time.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's a strange one.
Yeah. And I really hate to call editing mistakes because there should always be there could always be a good reason, and maybe we're missing it.
I hope there is just not something as simple and not so exciting as an editing error.
So she also says that the tools were iron, and we know that because they're rusted. And only iron and metals made with iron in them, like alloys of iron, rust. But they can't be iron because the Fae wouldn't be able to touch them.
Well, they can use gloves, I guess. But
they would be using gloves, wouldn't they?
But
I thought I'd found like some secret where actually they were humans working in the forge and they were slaves.
The question will be if we know the iron is bad for face and they were making maybe weapons with iron. So are we talking then they're using weapons against Fae?
Yeah, exactly. I thought this was some like juicy clue that forge was being used for something else, or there was humans used, or like non-Fae.
Yeah.
Because vampires can also touch iron. They can't touch silver.
Yeah, it's definitely not against vampires. It's against Fae people.
Yeah, but there's definitely rusty tools, so they have to be iron.
Yes. But all of this is when they are cleaning the place. they spend hours pretty much the whole day just cleaning, and then Ren's come back and he can't believe it. What you been doing all this time? And Saeris is really angry. Well, this place was worse before you because we weren't here.
Yeah.
And then Kingfisher is like, okay, the joke is now like too long now. So he just boom. With magic, everything is fixed, everything is brand new. And Saeris can't believe it. Like, what happened with that? Your magic can only use for the right purpose and all of that. And even Ren says like, the man standing before you isn't shy about using his gifts to complete mundane tasks. That for me was kind of like saying like, this guy has even used magic for wipe his bomb or something like
Yeah.
that.
Like in Harry Potter when Fred says, don't, to Harry when he can do magic out of school, he's like, don't use it to do your flies off. That's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the end of the chapter. And we're gonna do chapter 10, Crumbs.
Crumbs. So again, this is another example of a chapter title that can have like a hidden meaning. So the crumbs, obviously at face value, Fisher is eating in the library, and Rosarius is like, don't leave any crumbs. I even eat my crackers out the window, so I don't leave any crumbs. But also it's, again, if you think about like the possibility that Belikon has had all the records destroyed, she's getting crumbs of information. That's all she's getting. She's not getting solid fact. She's not getting much really to help her. Yeah, she's getting little crumbs of information. So again, I think this is just another hidden meaning title that we can like look for throughout the book. This is where Kingfisher is eating like roasted smoked meat, possibly.
Yeah.
It's either smoked or roasted, isn't it? But anyway, smoked meat in the library. It sounds amazing. Anyway, Rusarius is kind of like scolding Ren for not being able to keep control of him. And Ren says, the day I managed to make Kingfisher do anything is the day the Corcoran return. This is really cool because it's foreshadowing. The Corcoran are there. They apparently set off on a pilgrimage. I think this foreshadows the fact that they will come back to Everlayne and we will see them in the realm of the Fae or in another realm, like in not just in their like garden with the tree.
Yeah.
Because he does make Fisher do something, doesn't he? He makes Fisher refuse to compel Saeris again because Fisher compels, he has this like compulsion power and he forces Saeris to do
whatever he wants.
To leave, basically. And it's not so much a theory, but an inevitability. The Corcoran are obviously going to return.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool as well.
Lane does seem to have given up on Kingfisher here because Ren and Lane are having this conversation. Ren genuinely believes there is a way to fix him because they have this awkward conversation about, she says, and you wonder why Belikon calls you a dog. And he's like, no, actually, I don't wonder. I know why. And then he says, I'll take my own plate. I'll go and eat the dogs or something. And Ren says he's not going to give up on him.
Yeah. I guess as well because Everlayne at this point, she had no clue what's going on or what happened to Fisher because he can't speak about it. So maybe for her, he's been just 110 years just messing around. Yeah, just living la vida loca or something out. She had no clue about all the hell that he has got to go through. And I think Ren, he doesn't know that neither, but he can feel that something happened to him. It's something really bad. He knows him very well. And the end is his brother, and he doesn't give up on him.
Yeah, and he probably does understand the way that these like blood oaths work, where you can't talk about what you've seen.
Yes.
So perhaps Ren suspects that he can't talk about it and that there's some kind of pact or oath that he's made.
Yeah.
But he's not giving up on him. He knows there's a way to fix him. And again, that's foreshadowing. There is a way to fix him. It just needs Telena and Ishabal.
Yeah, witches.
The witches, yeah. Well, Telena's not a witch, but Ishabal definitely is. And then Rosarius is just being Rosarius. He's like found some old crackers lying around on a... I don't know how long they'd been there. No, he left them there the other day. Speaking of crackers, I knew I had found some somewhere. I found a whole tray of them on a shelf in the 7th era land records section. Must have left them there the other day. So, I think the 7th era, because we're in... I don't know what we're in now. We could probably work this out. But Fisher was born at the end of the 9th era, the 9th age. Lane was born like early 10th age. So there's the crossover in era there. The 7th is a whole like 3 eras before Everlayne was born. And I think he's researching that for a reason now, so that he's looking into the land records. I think he's researching Saeris's bloodline, because I do think that she's that the royal land records might give away the name. He might find Fane, because he knows that she's got a she's got a Fae name.
Yes.
I wonder if he's searching the land records to try and find her history.
It totally makes sense. And after Kingfisher said she must have some Fae blood.
And I think he's going to find out that there's some like ancient Fae royal bloodline. And that's how we're going to find out that it's Saeris. Because we've said that for the last few weeks. We suspect that she's royal.
Yeah.
But where would you find the answers if not on a land record?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be important.
Yeah, definitely think that he's going to be the man, or the Fae, that is going to come with Saeris. This is your family. This is your history. It's going to be maybe next book, because next book she started as a kind of like a Fae vampire.
She's the queen of Sanasroth.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good. I can't wait. So this is the part where they explain that alchemy is almost forgotten in Avelia. But we learn that there's 3 branches: immortality, transmuting metals, and curing illness and disease. We also find out that they speak the same language, because Saeris is reading a book and she's like, wait, hang on, how am I reading this? And there's several things that could happen. So in other Fae stories, the Fae cast some magic on the human as soon as they enter the realm, so that they can understand. And it's basically like a glamour or a piece of magic that's just automatic translation. But this is different. So Everlayne explains that Zilvarin used to speak a different language. But then over time, as more and more Fae went through the portal, they adopted Common Fae, which is, even though there's different dialects around the Fae realm, they all speak, or all the courts can speak Common Fae.
Yeah.
This must mean, though, that Zilvarin and the Fae realm, Avelia, are very well connected. So this is, again, another hint. Obviously, we know that Madra is in the Triumvirate.
Yeah.
She must have been there for centuries. And because it says that Madra has always spoken Common Fae, and she's like the common link. So now Common Fae is just the language. But if 1,000 years ago she was so determined to keep the Fae out and she's terrified of the Fae, why did she not try to eradicate the language to try and call out all these Fae that couldn't speak the language?
Well, I guess because for her as well, she needs to create a new language. If maybe that has been the...
But she didn't need to create it, because Zilvarin used to speak a different language to speak that one.
I definitely think there's a correlation between these 2 realms, because we had the 2 sons, and the 2 sons is kind of from Baal and Mithril, and is, I don't know if maybe gods are as well, like maybe in different realms. So
Well, they will be, because it's the tree. You know, they have this tree of life and all the leaves. You would think that the gods would have some kind of influence in all of those universes. And then they get onto the topic of how Madra could still be alive, because she's like, you seem to know a lot about Madra. How could she still be alive? So Everlayne doesn't know, but she is sure it's some sort of magic.
Yeah.
But they don't know who performed it for her or why. So this definitely suggests that Madra is a human. They believe that she's human. But somebody performed some magic on her. But I come to Malcolm giving her immortal supply of vampire blood. So do we want to explore it quickly now, how Madra could be mortal? I think there's a few things that we can run through.
Okay.
Theory number 1, the alchemist immortality route. The second branch of alchemy is searching for the secret to immortality.
They create a philosopher's stone and it's a Madra's power.
Yeah.
Basically.
Or vampire blood. Right. Anyway, we'll come to that one. She could be of Fae bloodline, but she's denying it. Is she actually Fae? If Madra has Fae ancestry, she could inherit centuries of lifespan, but publicly claiming it could undermine like the image that she's trying to create as the protector of the humans against the Fae, in the early years anyway, and then the Fae don't exist. Number 3, which I think is really sinister, she could be having some kind of life-draining magic. So she could be sustaining herself by draining the life force of others.
Yeah.
Like the Third Ward. She's like feeding on the souls of her citizens through some ancient blood magic that somebody has performed on her.
That sounds really like a thing that she will do, to be honest.
It's left field because there's no evidence for that, apart from the fact that she won't let Harren cross over. She's got some kind of control
with the souls, yes.
Yeah, over where people can go. Then there's the vampire blood. So I keep saying this like it's unhinged. It's not that unhinged. We find out later there is another queen.
That was exactly what she did.
That is doing that. So her mother gave her part of her soul to save her life. Her mother is now floating around with some kind of spirit. And they say that, just in an offhanded way, they say vampire blood is how she's doing it. So I just don't even think it's that unhinged a theory because it's literally on the page. And the 5th reason, we spoke last week, we kind of speculated about the fact that she could be one of the gods' champions, and Styx is our number 1 kind of theory on that, because she could have made a deal with Styx and she is now immortal.
Yeah.
So just like recapping those really quickly. The first one, the alchemists' immortality route, so the second branch of alchemy, and they found the answer and Madra now has it. The second one is she could be hiding a real Fae bloodline. The third one is that she's performing some life-draining magic. The 4th one is vampire blood. And the 5th one is that she is Styx's champion.
Yeah. I think I go more for first vampire blood because, like you say, it's been already on the page. It's not something speculative. It's something that happened already there. And after that, I will go for Styx, chosen as a champion. And because he's a god and he needs this human to live longer for his plan to, go to results. So make her immortal.
I do like the life-draining one, though, as well.
It's creepy. But yeah, it's something totally that I will believe that she's doing.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the additional parts of the info dump that we get in this chapter. There were members of this court, so the Winter Court, on scouting parties exploring the new pathways that had recently opened up when Madra cut the cord. So she says friends, family, members, they became trapped wherever they were and they haven't been seen since. So we know that Daddy Kingfisher was one of them. Who else?
I can think about like somebody relevant that we can, there's like, we see him from the main characters, but it has to be maybe explorers, warriors, and looking for maybe other resources. And I think at some point we're going to find these people coming back to maybe Belikon or to the Winter Palace, and it's gonna be people that's gonna turn into main characters of the story.
Yeah, I keep thinking about this guy Vorath. Vorath Shaw, is that his name? Vorash? Sure.
He's coming back to the Winter Palace by himself, maybe.
Yeah.
He found out that Quicksilver is open.
All the like snake oil.
And the third, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. I just have a feeling.
I still think there's like a little community of Fae and the third. They're just surviving from Madras. People, or they're being hunted for thousands of years. And I don't know if at this point they still maybe, I don't know if they get to it to be just like humans. And if they will...
Well, maybe they don't have relics. Maybe they need the relics. I don't know.
I mean, if they were able to cross, unless they, for something they lost them, somebody stole it, and they don't have it anymore, then yes, they had to wait for somebody.
Yeah, because if you think about Kingfisher's dad, he went virtually with like the clothes on his back, surely. He wouldn't have taken loads of stuff with him. And he got trapped because you just wouldn't think you were going to get trapped unless it was his plan and he was in on the plan. I just don't believe he would leave his wife. I'd like to think that he wouldn't, and his child.
Yeah.
Anyway, these people might have ended up having to sell it because they thought, well, it's stuck. Or they might just to eat or drink.
Water,
Yeah. Okay, so this bit gets really interesting. Saeris thinks that Everlayne is 28. But it turns out Everlayne is, in fact, 1,486 years old. How does she keep count? I'm 36 and I forget all the time. I always forget how old I am. How on earth has she kept count? 1,486 years.
Yes, imagine when she had to remember her birthday, like what year it was, and that's her to remember all of that. But it's amazing when you're thinking about people that can live like this long and still remember.
I know. And Kingfisher has 1,733.
Yeah.
And he gets a little bit offended that Everlayne forgets the 3 years. But at least she went on the young side. She didn't add years onto him.
Yeah. But it's crazy as well because we know that for a fair woman, it's really difficult to have children. Everlayne says that. But Kingfisher was 10 or 11 when he went to the Winter Palace. Then Belikon's trying to have a child with his mom, and obviously passed a couple of centuries before this happened. So Kingfisher was already...
If we assume this is happening today, Kingfisher was born in the year 292. Everlayne was born in 539. So he was already 247 by the time his sister was born.
Yes. And I don't know how it works because doesn't mean that he was looking like he looks already, like around maybe 30th when he is over 200 years, or their fate, they just get older like slowly, and maybe he looks like a teenager.
We learn a bit more about it when they go to Ballard, when Saeris sees those two kind of teenage girls trying to catch Kingfisher's eye. So we can cover that, like how quickly they age when we cover that chapter.
Yeah.
So Kingfisher's pretty pissed with Everlayne for spilling his secrets, although he's glad that she's telling her some truths. He came to collect Saeris. They then go back to the forge. He says he can't lie. So this is where it comes out that there's a Fae oath, but she doesn't get all the detail. All he says is, I can't lie. And she tries to test him, and she's a bit embarrassing here. Like, she could ask him anything. And she's asking him about the size of his cock. And he says, it's big enough to make you scream and then some, which is like good banter. But it's also a bit like, you can ask him anything and you ask him that. And apparently it's Elroy that talks about it and says that you can find out a man will lie if you ask him the size of his cock. But she isn't testing it. So she just thinks he's lying. And he's not actually lying.
Does she know?
Yes,
again.
Yeah, she can't tell. He's actually telling the truth. So he's only partially able to answer Saeris's other questions about the city who razed to the ground. And she says, where were you for the 110 years if you'd gone? And he said, hell.
Which is not a lie.
No, that's definitely true. He then puts Quicksilver in her hand, which is really painful for her to touch.
Mm-hmm.
She has no relic here, and he says that he is protecting her by holding her hand. He says, so long as I am touching you, you're safe. I'm wearing the pendant. It won't harm us.
Yeah.
But I thought, so until I read this again, I thought that an alchemist could touch the Quicksilver, but it turns out that even an alchemist needs a relic.
Yes. So it's any kind of skin. Guessing as long she just told to the Quicksilver obey because it's an alchemist. But still, if I touch him, same reaction.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she hears the words Anarath More.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out later what that means. So he says, okay, now tell it what you want. Tell it to sleep. So it was here all along. She only had to talk to it. Just ask, which is the title of the chapter where she does actually figure out all she's got to do is ask.
Mm-hmm.
But it was here all along. And Kingfisher knows it, but he doesn't know how to make a relic. So even Kingfisher hasn't put 2 and 2 together, that you just have to talk to the Quicksilver. I have a question. The Quicksilver pools, they're closed.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Quicksilver still talking to Kingfisher? Is that bit awake, the bit that's inside him?
Yes, that's always awake.
Even if the pools are closed?
I don't know exactly how the pulse works with the rest, but because the Quicksilver now is part of Kingfisher, and I think there's a point when the Quicksilver says that they
are one.
Yes. So I'm not sure because of this is losing the connection. So the other one, they work together, they turn off, turn on all together. But this little bit that's in Kingfisher is just maybe independent and might be something that maybe it will have a biggest role later on.
Yeah, maybe. Right, so all of the pools, my theory, which is a bit weird, is that the Quicksilver's in her hand. She's woken it up. It's saying, Anarath More, Anarath More. All of the pools are open at this point. And they might be prepared this time because we know that Madra is guarding the pool, because when Kingfisher goes through soon, he says that there's guards all around the pool.
Mm-hmm.
The alchemists might have felt it last time and they got prepared, they got their relics. So I think that every time they do this, possibly another alchemist has shifted realm.
I don't know if when you build a pool and then you fill it out with Quicksilver, that I don't even know what you get it, but this Fae, they managed to build a few pools, and with the intention they're going to travel through those pools. I don't know if because you build something and it's just maybe with that intention, the rest of the Quicksilver is not part of that. So the Quicksilver that's inside a pool, it belongs just for all the links, all connect, all the pools together. But then, like you said, the little bit that she has in her hand, that is not part of that because it's not being designed to
No, I think
travel.
when it's all awake, it's awake. I think even if a tiny bit is awake, it's awake. That's why I wonder if Kingfisher's is always awake.
Yeah.
So she steals the Quicksilver and he kind of is happy about it. And she punches him square in the mouth.
And that is the end of the chapter.
Yes.
Now moving on to chapter 11, Swallow.
Yeah, so swallow the cheese. Definitely the cheese, just the cheese. This is about swallowing the cheese.
Well, yes. Supposed to be.
It's about cheese.
Okay. So Lane is really angry with her. She's trying to put another dress, but she's being really aggressive with her. And it's all of this because the incident that happened the day before when she punched Kingfisher in the face. She said that that was something really dangerous to do, that you don't know how he's going to react, that he is a Fey warrior. And the day before, he was carrying her on the shoulder like a sack of potatoes. And then he threw her in the bed and say, "Bad human."
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being called a bad human, like Kingfisher. Everlayne wants to be called Lane, not Everlayne, even though she herself introduced herself as Everlayne. And this made me realise that I don't think we actually know any of their real names, because Everlayne clearly isn't her real name, is it?
No. There's going to be another mystery for this series as well.
It's not even one that I think that you can even guess.
No.
No. Not like people's signets that you can have a good guess at. No.
No, it's going to be something completely different, but we have to wait for the other books to find out the name and why.
There's a lot of conversation here about Madra closing the gate and Finran being sent on a mission. I think we've already covered that enough in the previous chapters.
Yeah, so basically Everlayne is given a little bit of background about her story and basically her mom, Mommy Fisher, as well. And they were talking about how Belikon was looking for the money, how she went back to the Winter Palace with all the assets, and that includes was little Kingfisher.
Yeah, and then so we know that Kingfisher has Carlish, the stately home that is down by Omnamurin, the mountain in the south.
Yeah.
But presumably she took all her assets. I would like to think that she didn't, and she managed to save Kingfisher some money back in Carlish.
Yeah.
And that he's doing fine. So, because they're still paying the little fire sprites to work there and stuff. So I hope she was, I think she was clever enough to leave him.
Yeah, I think in the same, there's almost there that Kingfisher knows, and Belikon probably had no clue.
Yeah, she didn't want to go. She still believed her husband was alive, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So other thing, the Lane is talking about her life is that once her mom was there with Belikon, they tried to have a child. They took too long because it was a lot of effort for the mother to have another children after having Kingfisher. Then she says that once her mom was pregnant, for her mom was really difficult, all the pregnancy. And now that we know everything that was going on with Belikon, I wonder if maybe because Belikon is not 100% Fae, could be maybe that's why Mommy Fisher has problems with the pregnancy. I don't know if in the end he's gonna be maybe half vampire as well. Maybe has alliance with Malcolm. But for me, this could be like a hint that Mommy Fisher was having problems with the pregnancy, maybe because she has an hybrid, and that was why it make her like feel weak, and then by the end she dies.
But then you'd think something like Lane would be immune to something. And I'm pretty sure that Zareth says at the end that she's become something that has never existed before.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he can be half vampire. Sorry.
Well, not sure if it's going to be a vampire, but for me, it was kind of like, maybe it's a little hint here that she's not 100% Fae.
Yeah, she could be like maybe half witch. I don't know.
Well, it's coming from Belikon, so whatever Belikon is, that will go a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's definitely coming from Belikon, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know whether she was just resistant to the whole thing. She didn't want to have another baby because essentially she didn't want to be with this man, and he'd basically forced her into having a child.
Yeah, it could be just a regular thing because we know the Baby face are really rare.
Yeah.
She was given second one.
My second pregnancy was quite risky after the first emergency. So maybe it could be that as well, like just naturally.
Yeah.
A more dangerous pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting to think why.
True. But at the end, after all this conversation, they just go to find some breakfast. And while Saeris is in the bedroom, Kingfisher arrives with some food. It's like a tray full of food, but he gave something to Saeris as well, a little piece of
A lump of cheese. It
cheese.
tastes like glue. And he's like, swallow it. But I did realise that swallow is another bird, another type of bird.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And it could be like the bird tattoo on her chest when she gets it later, could be a swallow. So again, it could be another double meaning, but, well, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely a double meaning.
It's
This
a
could be a
double meaning.
triple meaning. Yeah.
Yes. But Saeris is not very happy that Kingfisher is there after all the issues that happened the day before. Even at this point, Kingfisher is bleeding a little bit after that punch that she gave him. And he's even touching with a tongue. And somehow, for Saeris, that was like really sexy thing.
I know. Like one thing I can't get behind is the blood being like tasting blood and licking blood like from somebody's neck. It makes me feel sick. I mean, these are the best. This is the best smut that I like. I've enjoyed the smut more than any of the others. Like, I think Callie Hart is really good at writing it. But the blood, I just can't. This is not a turn on for me. I'd be like, oh, you need to wipe that. Yeah. Anyway, weird that she gets turned on by that. Maybe
Yes.
she's just supposed to be. She's just supposed to be a vampire.
Oh, maybe something about the bond. Obviously, he's doing something and then she's reacting to that. And obviously, he noticed. And even he says to her that she would be amazed about the stuff that Faye can smell. And she feels a little bit embarrassed about it. But then when Lane arrives, even Lane can notice as well.
Yeah, she says it smells like a brothel. Like, imagine how embarrassing that would be in real life.
Yes, because even in real life, that kind of situations can happen. If maybe you go into a bedroom where people will be doing something and you just go in.
Smell it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
Even
what
if you
she
just
feels.
think about something in a public place, they would all know. How embarrassing.
Yes, but
You
it's
just have to own it, wouldn't you? You just have to be like, yeah, that happened, and it's fine.
pretty much what Kingfisher does, even when he was about to laugh, when he can see Sarah's face because she's really embarrassed about it. But he takes the plane and says, sorry, I'm just going to go away, have a bath, and wash all my sins.
Yeah. What I liked about this chapter was that he deliberately put extra armor on and said that it was to protect himself from her. Obviously, he doesn't need that much protection, but he's like arrived in full Fey warrior gear, and he's like, I thought I needed a bit of extra protection after you punched me in the face. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And this is where Saeris says, how do you even kill a Fey warrior? Rusarius is bound to know. So I definitely think he killed a Fey warrior. Yeah. And that's why he got banished from the Winter Palace. And then Belikon got over it and he was like, bring him back.
So much more about him, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, they go to the library and Sarah wants to focus on just on the Quicksilver, even asked to Rosarius all about it. She wants to know how people used to travel using the Quicksilver, because obviously it's just a pool or liquid metal. So how do you go to the specific realm? And he started to think and says everything that he knows about it. The only thing you have to do is about thinking about the place that you want to go, and the Quicksilver will take you there. And if there's something new, then you just have to think about things that you want to find in this place, and then the Quicksilver will find that place for you, which is quite handy, I guess. But it's as well telling stories about people that maybe they were not like really specific. They were like looking for hydrogen and then just go in the middle of a star or something like this, which is weird.
No, it's not true. So Rosarius thinks that story is nonsense. He says that. He says, which I think is nonsense. I'm in the same page as Rosarius. There is not a pool of Quicksilver in the middle of a sun, is there? There's got to be a pool of Quicksilver on the other side. Otherwise you can't...
How do you go there?
Portals. Yeah, you can't just put... How would you get back? I mean, you wouldn't get back anyway from the centre of a sun. But if you went anywhere, it's the Quicksilver that links these worlds, like a ribbon of energy is how Lane describes it. So this is nonsense. This is Archivist Clements again, because Rosarius says Archivist Clements, that busybody he called him, thought that. So again, I think Archivist Clements is sus. I think that
Subscribe.
I can't help but think that Archivist Clements is going to come back, and he's sus.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that was tasked. Oh, is this explaining that Archivist Clements was really shit at his job? Like, he didn't really understand what was going on. And this is why Belikon hired him to find out what the alchemist's secrets were, because he was shit and he was never going to find the answer. He didn't hire Rusarius because Rusarius was good. And Rosarius would have got to the bottom of it immediately. Yeah. So this, for me, is another tick in the box that Belikon didn't want the pools of Quicksilver.
Yeah, he was just pretending that he was doing his job as a king. Yeah. Probably he's doing all in his hand to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's bullshit that they went to the middle of a star. And Rosarius knows it, but it's Archivist Clements again.
Yeah.
That's... seems to have protected or trashed the forge. There's a different mystery going on here, and I think I'm on top of it. Don't worry. We're gonna have a on today's episode of What the Fuck is Professor Kaori doing?
Yeah.
This is gonna be like on today's episode of What the Fuck is Archivist Clements doing?
Or did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rosarius says that the Everlayne court the Winter Palace has the biggest known pool of Quicksilver beneath the palace. He says, nearly every tunnel you come across will lead you there. Though I once spent 5 days trying to work out ... And then Saeris stops listening. What did he spend 5 days trying to work out?
Yeah, I was thinking the same when I was reading this part, because it's again one of these scenes that is trying to give you like something really important information, and then the main character is like, it's not important.
Yeah.
Like, no,
it is so important, and they cut him off. She cut him off.
It reminds me again, like Imperial Series Violet with the research.
She says she took notes about the Sanus Rothian pool located at the centre of their rivals' court council halls. We are totally going to the council halls in Brimstone. I mean, she's now the queen. It's inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to see that pool of Quicksilver. We're going to see how the Sanus Rothian council work. That's going to be so good. Right, so she does download some information that she writes down in this part. She says, the Gilarian, the Fae in the mountains to the east, kept their pool in a hall perched upon the highest peak of their domain. The Gilarians are the people from Gilethrai who he raised that down. So we did meet them at the end of the book. Although they all died. Then it said, it was reported that the pool belonging to the Lissians, the seafaring fae who lived upon a southern island, was located deep in the sea cave and was almost as large as the Everlayne pool, though it had never been confirmed because the Lissians had regarded it as their most sacred place of worship. So when I saw Callie Hart in Nottingham, I asked her, if we're going to dissect basically we're going to read this front to back from now until the Brimstone release, what should we focus on if we want to find clues for what's in Brimstone? And she said side characters mentioning different factions of the Fae or different factions of people. And this is one where I'm sure we're going to meet the Lyssian seafaring fae in the next book.
Yeah.
If not Brimstone, then the third one.
It's a matter of time. No.
I'm going to put, like, this is one where I just really think it will be Brimstone, where we'll meet the Lyssians, because this is one of those mentions, I think, that we should be paying extra attention to. We've already met some of the Galarian fae, obviously not in a great situation. They're obviously stuck in the maze.
Yeah.
But I do think the Lyssian fae will appear in the next book.
But yeah, after all the conversation with Rosarius, now Saeris know how to travel through the Quicksilver.
It's easy peasy.
Yeah, just think about it and that's it. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that she needs to do is think about the Silver City, but there's one more thing that she needs to do before do that. And here's when the chapter ends.
Okay, so shall we flip the pages of Adina's sketchbook? This is the part of the show where we channel our inner eye as Mummy Kingfisher would and put our oracle skills to the test in the hope that we get at least something right for Brimstone. What is your favourite theory of the week?
I will say that Everlayne is now 100% fae. I'm not going to say that she's a half vampire or something. I think there's something dodgy or something suspicious about Belikon for this alliance that he's having with Madra and Malcolm. And because he is doing this kind of stuff, whatever he is or whatever he has, some of that will happen or it will go to Everlayne. And somehow she's not going to be like 100% fae. That's what I think.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what powers she got. Whether she got any powers from her mum. Anyway, this is not a theory section. This is the review section. My favourite is that Belikon did not actually want the portals to be open again, and that the royal archivist Clements was either knowingly or unknowingly sabotaging the attempts to get.
Yeah, we don't know if he's just useless or he was just doing his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so sticking with the theme of precognition, let's look at the chapters we're going to cover next week.
So for next week, we're going to start with Chapter 12, Fox, Chapter 13, Duress, and Chapter 14, The Fine Print.
I know, we're going to get into the fine print of the fine print. It's going to be super fine print.
It's going to be a super loop.
Yeah. So back to 3 chapters next week, and we do have so much to say about the fox.
Yeah, that little fox was going to be nice to start talking about him.
Yeah. Okay, so questions from the Quicksilver?
Okay, let's do this.
So this is the part of the show where we listen hard to the whispers of the Quicksilver and dig deep into our souls for the answer. Last week, we asked, this was a grim one. Saeris Fane was 24 years of age when she died. Honestly, she should have died a lot sooner, but the girl never did know when to give up. It's a grim thought, but what would be on your epitaph?
Okay, so I think mine would be something like, here lies Juan Carlos Ramirez Sanchez from Colombia. And that's it, because just with that ridiculous name that I have, no space for nothing else.
Oh my God, that's so true. Remember when we got the first prescription for our youngest child?
Yes.
And his name was so long it didn't fit on. Don't say it.
You have to like go all around the thing.
His name was so long it didn't even fit. It got cut off at the end of the sticker, like halfway through his name. Poor kid.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's going to happen to me.
Marry someone Hispanic. I did have to apologize in Starbucks today because of my long name. She couldn't. No, it wasn't Starbucks. Wait, cut that out. What did? No, it was when I was ordering the skip the other day. I had to tell her my name about 4 times. She was like, I'm really sorry, I'm tired. Can you spell it out really slowly? She was like, it's completely my fault. And I was like, it's not, it's my fault. I have a very complicated name.
Yes. Tell me about it. There's a reason that now I'm going for JC.
That's so funny.
What about yours?
I think mine would be something like Here lies Sean Ramirez Bauer. I didn't actually think about this. I need to think of something now.
Maybe that will be in your epitaph. Didn't have time to think about it. We have a thought.
It'll be like, I don't know. I'll think about an epitaph later. No, I think it might say something like, just one more chapter, because I just want to read one more chapter.
No, or just the end.
Yeah, the end.
Oh, the end.
And everyone else lived happily ever after. Something bookish, I think.
Yeah.
Next week, I promise to think. That's the problem. I always think I'll think about it later, and then I don't.
Yeah.
You can make something.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think about it later. That's the perfect one.
I'll think what to write later.
Yeah.
Okay, this week. If portals worked simply by thinking of where you want to go, what's the very first place you'd want to go?
And we're talking about creators and earth places to go.
Anyway, you just got to think about something. You could think about wanting some more hydrogen, but you could not end up in the center of the sun. You can only go where there could, like, realistically be another pool of Quicksilver. So not the center of the sun. Not that you would pick that anyway. Would anyone pick that?
Going to Mars, be the first one to go in and die in Mars. We are not prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all we've got time for this week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at FaithfullyFantasyPod if you're not already doing so. Come and join the conversation. We'd love to hear your theories. So if you've got a theory, send it our way. We always try to give credit on the show and on socials because, let's face it, the best theories come from all of you.
And with this, we have just one more thing to say. Thank you for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Quicksilver.
We'll see you next week for our deep dive of chapters 12 to 14 and, of course, for more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye!